My name is Dr. John Watson, and for years it was my greatest pleasure to be the companion, the confidant, and the chronicler of the greatest detective the world has ever known. It is only now, upon my esteemed friend's death, that I can reveal the bizarre, the arcane, the hidden tales that he never wanted told in his lifetime. These are the fantastical adventures of Sherlock Holmes. London, August 1898.
Kidneys and kedgeree. Splendid. I must say, the godly hour aside, this morning's enterprise has given me quite an appetite.
Will Sir be dining? Thank you, no. Coffee will suffice. Sir?
Nothing for me, thank you. You look a little green about the gills, Doctor. As both a physician and a professional soldier, I always took you to be made of sterner stuff.
Do not mistake my discomfort for cowardice, sir. I have endured my share of blood and horror, both in service to this country and in your brother's company. I know death. I have seen men die before me. Having them rise and attempt to tear out my throat, however, is a wholly new and unnerving experience, one I would dare any man to treat lightly.
Forgive me, I meant no disservice. I forget my manners. Recent matters have made me rather curt of late.
Such as the horde of cannibalistic cadavers at large beneath the city, which is why I assume Dr. Watson and I were threatened with incarceration if we do not keep our distance.
The latter was beyond even my control. The incident with the underground workers stirred up a veritable hornet's nest in certain quarters. Heavy hands were at play when a deftness of touch was required instead.
Fortunately for us, you knew I would not heed such demands and had us watched accordingly.
I would have been sorely remiss if I did not.
To the meat of it, then, and the marrow. Those creatures, how did they come to be?
How indeed? Tell me, Doctor, are you familiar with the work of Dr. John Snow and the Reverend Henry Whitehead?
Of course, any physician worth his salt knows of them. Dr. Snow was foremost in the adoption of measured surgical anesthesia and the stringent application of medical hygiene. Most notable, however, he was a pioneer in the then fledgling field of epidemiology and germ theory. He was a vigorous skeptic of the miasma theory, that disease was spread by foul air or noxious smells. He turned this on its head when he succeeded in tracing an outbreak of cholera to a specific polluted water source.
The Broad Street pump in Soho.
Yes, that's it. It was the summer of 1854, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't trust only to the medical science, but employed detailed statistical and demographic analysis in studying the patterns of infection. Snow confirmed the link between the outbreak and a water company that was supplying the neighborhood with sewage-corrupted water from the Thames. And the Reverend Whitehead? A curate at St. Luke's Church. His local knowledge was invaluable in pinpointing the outbreaks and ultimately their source. A competent piece of detective work. It was no mere intellectual exercise, Holmes. Over 600 people perished.
Actually, it was closer to 1,500.
1,500? But that wasn't reported at the time.
Along, I suspect, with a good many other things. Is that not so, Mycroft?
Indeed. Those who died rose and preyed upon the living, spreading the contagion with every bite. However, ignorance was the greatest enemy. The police, sent in to quell what they thought was riotous, drunken mobbery, were savaged and slaughtered. So too were those who followed. The infection threatened to spread exponentially. Once again, it was the good Dr. Snow, having encountered this terror firsthand, who posited a practical tactic. The area was sealed, under the guise of a public health matter. Thus contained, street by street, house by house, the creatures were culled using halberds and pike staffs as much as bullets and bayonets. The entire district was scoured and cleansed.
Were there any survivors?
None. It was a charnel house.
It's incredible. I've never heard a word of this before.
Because I imagine there was no one left alive to bear witness. A voracious outbreak of cholera conveniently conceals a multitude of sins.
Were there any other cases?
None, and the cause remains unknown to this day. Dr. Snow's silence was bought with the assurance that an extensive program of public works would be undertaken. Sewerage and water treatment and so on. He died at the modest age of 45, a stroke, brought on no doubt by the burden of all he had seen. The Reverend Whitehead, on the other hand, lived to a ripe old age. Conversely, it bolstered his faith. That such manifest evil could exist proved beyond doubt that an almighty force for good also prevailed. I've heard rumors in my time, but was only made fully aware of past events after the underground incident, when various pertinent files were made available to me.
The state keeps secrets even from its own trusted custodians.
We are all merely gatekeepers, Sherlock. Each to his own domain.
Wait. The letter I found was dated the previous July. How can that be, if the last incident was over 40 years ago? How did they become infected? Where did they come from? How could so many people go missing without a trace?
Do you know how many people vanish from London streets each year?
I shudder to think.
This city has an appetite all its own. It is like the god Saturn consuming his children. It was only by good fortune that one of those flitches escaped its confines.
Good fortune? How can you say that?
Because if it hadn't, we would not have found the rest. A monstrous regiment of ravenous corpses who were clearly created and corralled for a purpose.
Good God. But who would do such a thing? And why?
Fair questions indeed. But there is another which is more pressing.
Which is?
Was that the soul cache? Or are there more?
The time is almost at hand, Sebastian. And soon we shall play ours. The city stirs, its veins and arteries already pulsing, thick with life. A myriad mundane souls, the great swell of humanity here in this heart of empire, torpid with its own arrogance and vanity. It thinks itself vast, untouchable, eternal. But I shall reacquaint this city, this nation, with a sensation to which it had long thought itself immune. I shall teach it fear. The hour is struck. Now it begins.
Later.
Holmes. Holmes. Holmes.
Yes, what is it?
You've not heard a word I've said this past 20 minutes, have you?
I'm sorry, dear fellow, my mind was indeed elsewhere.
And nowhere good at that, I'll warrant. You've had a face like thunder since we left the Diogenes Club.
It's this matter with Mycroft. He has a fierce and elegant intellect, yet his hands are clearly bound by the Whitehall mandarins to whom he answers. A mind of his quality should not be treated so. He is being spoon-fed snippets when he should be furnished with the whole picture. They are governed by paranoia and rigid with inertia. Do you imagine if we had not ventured underground that they would have done so? That any of this would have come to light?
Yeah, get away! Holmes.
Away, I said, blast you! Did you see that? That blackguard tried to bite me! What the devil's your game, huh? Oh my lord! Get out of the road! Step aside!
What are you doing, man? I have to!
Wait, wait! See? There's more of them.
We have to do something.
We shall. We will. But this matter is best served by our swift return to Baker Street.
Holmes, this blood's fresh.
The door's locked.
Get away with you!
Mrs. Hudson, it's us, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Is it really you?
In the pink. So please put the pistol down and open the door.
As quick as you can, Mrs. Hudson. We have company.
In you come, gentlemen. Best foot forward. Oh, Mr. Holmes, I've had such a time. The poor baker's boy. It was barely an hour gone. He was bringing my order when he was set about. I thought it was some roughs. I went out to give them a hiding when I heard him start screaming. There was Savage, biting him, eating him alive. He kept crying and calling for his mother. I ran inside, got one of your guns, Doctor, but when I came back, they'd gone. There was just his blood everywhere. I should have done more. I should have stopped them.
Do not berate yourself. You're an exceedingly brave woman. Watson.
It's all right, go. Do what you must. I'll join you when I can. Come along, Mrs. Hudson. I think a stiff brandy is the order of the day, and yes, that is my medical opinion.
1854. Where?
I need my bag. I fear she needs something stronger than... Good grief, what are you doing?
Searching. Ha! Seek and you shall find.
What is it?
The London Gazetteer, an annual historical chronicle of life in the capital, for which read a tedious catalogue of births, marriages, deaths, and debutante balls, but once in a while there's a gem in the dross. Ah, here, listen. March 3rd, 1854. A fiery comet passed so low in the sky, its dimensions were clearly visible to the naked eye. Its tail glowed an unearthly green and violet hue, showering parts of the city in a rain of glittering light. I knew I'd heard that date before. It was 6 months before the Broad Street pump outbreak, and in the same vicinity.
A comet? Are you seriously implying there's a connection?
Let us consult one of the foremost minds on the subject, shall we?
Who is that? Copernicus? Galileo? Newton?
Patience, Doctor. Here. Microscopic life, inert yet viable, has been discovered in the most inhospitable of climes. Most notable the South Pole, where examples have been discovered in ice samples taken from deep below the surface. Is it not fair to assume, therefore, that life, too, could exist in the frozen void of space, sheathed in the ice and rock of comets and meteor? Could it be, therefore, that these celestial seed-beds are in fact responsible for the genesis of creation on this and countless other worlds?
Fanciful poppycock. I thought you were consulting a scientific work, not some form of speculative fiction.
It is a highly regarded treatise by one of the most respected figures in his field, amongst others.
Moriarty? But surely you cannot suspect him. He's dead.
So was I, remember, for a time at least. And so are they. But that does seem to bother them in the slightest.